and you can pay me afterwards. Okay. Now wait a minute. What if it's an adjective, which is the way the King James took it? If it's an adjective, then we have a real problem. We are not talking about Russia. Russia's not even mentioned in it. A lot of this came from a man named Duff Forbes, Lawrence Duff Forbes. He's now in heaven. He's a Jewish rabbi who came to know the Lord, wonderful Hebrew scholar. And he has a little booklet that is no longer in print. I have a copy of it because I'm an old person. But he has in print a book called Peril of the North, in which he does an exegesis, word by word, in Hebrew, and it's quite outstanding. The problem we have is that when you list nations biblically, the first nation is usually the top god, or the top gun. What's the first nation?
Persia.
Well, I see we have division in the body of Christ. The first name is Persia, which is ancient Elam, blood relatives to the Jews, by the way. And its modern name, of course, Iran, which happened in 1979. They're the first nation. And as Joel Rosenberg and Walid Shubak mentioned in their books, they believe that what we are seeing pictured there is actually a Muslim Antichrist. And it's a thought because all the nations are Muslim. Now, I told you what others believe. I don't believe any of it. Well, we have to show respect to one another, but it could very easily, from a Hebrew prophet point of view, be Armageddon. So I just leave you with that. But Dave Hunt believes that. Amen? He's 83 years old. What are you going to do, attack an old man? And whoa, wait. We got Arnold Fruchtenbaum, too. And nobody's as Jewish as he. He's still wearing clothes that are Jewish in style 40 years ago. Yeah, so you don't want to criticize him either. Okay. Hi, Bill.
Great to be with you, David. Never dull. I think what's interesting right now about the Gog-Magog course is a lot of people question what was going to motivate Russia, Turkey, Iran, and various other countries to take a play or make a move on Israel. You know, a lot of people thought there was ancient gold buried in Israel, and with the price of gold continuing to increase, this would be a major play. But also, some people believe that there might eventually be oil under the Dead Sea or somewhere in the land of Israel. Well, we have seen in the last 24 months one of the most significant natural gas finds in the world in over 10 years. And they have 4 different fields in play. The United States Department of Energy believes this Leviathan field has 122 trillion cubic feet of gas. Just recently, Noble Energy and their partners in Israel mentioned they had 16 trillion cubic feet of gas. So this is, and they were all excited about that. So there is 100 and 150 trillion feet of gas there, possibly even more. They've also recently found a couple billion barrels worth northeast of Ben Gurion Airport, which is a oil find. So what's very interesting right now is Russia's top oil development company, Gazprom, has been in Tel Aviv talking to Israel about a joint development relationship where they can help Russia develop their natural gas. And Russia's the largest natural gas producer in the world. Russia also is concerned by the fact that Israel has been working with the Greek government in order to bring a pipeline from Ashkelon to Greece to give it to Western Europe. Well, if you've watched the last couple of years, Russia has pretty much had a lot of clout. 30 to 33% of the energy needs that are supplied to Western Europe comes from Russia. They played some games with it the last couple of years. Well, so Russia, being clever as they are, they said, okay, Israel, we want to take a pipeline from Ashkelon to Eilat. because we want to move some of our natural gas through there to Asia, and this is a great way to go. Well, Russia also is very clever because they have been working with the Lebanese government to help them make sure that they get their fair shake out of this Mediterranean natural gas that's just been found. Plus, Russia has talked to Turkey over the last month about helping them find natural gas off their shore. And then the other very significant Persian component here is the fact that Iran, proxy Hezbollah, is about ready to move into a even greater position of influence in Lebanon, possibly gaining control of the Lebanese government. So you have Russia, you have Turkey, and Iran all making a play for these incredible natural gas finds, and this is all going to accelerate us toward an eventual fulfillment of Gog-Magog. No one seems to have the exact answer. It's been interesting when you're around Bible scholars. Some believe it'll be before the final 7 years, sometimes in the early part of this final 7, and sometimes toward the end, towards Armageddon. But that's pretty much the way the Lord writes the scriptures. No one absolutely will know for sure. But we definitely know that Russia is a major player in that region. Turkey has worked out their differences with Russia, and Iran is making a rapid move into the hemisphere of Israel. So everything is lining up. Thank you.
By the way, that's Bill Koenig. Chuck Missler.
Well, first of all, I got to say Shabbat Shalom to my dear friend. Actually, pushing on wood. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you, David. I just want to thank you for promoting the book. I appreciate it. All right. Well, back to Gog and Magog, I've taken the view that's a minority view. It's probably one of the few places that Hal Lindsey and I have a friendly agreement to disagree, because he always presents the Gog and Magog thing as part of the Armageddon scenario after Daniel 11 and so on. I take the view, I'm not going to defend it to my death, but I take a view that the Gog and Magog event is preceding to the tribulation and all of that. And so I think it follows Psalm 83. The immediate neighbors are conspicuous in their absence of mention in Ezekiel 38 and 39, but they are the subject of Psalm 83. And it's apparently from that Israel consolidates itself, becomes very prosperous, to become the attractive target that it appears to be in Gog and Magog. And so I tend to view it as preceding to the whole Armageddon thing from the profile in Daniel 11. But that's a minority view, and I realize that some really good scholars, a long list of them, disagree with me. So we'll see. We'll just watch and see, right?
Thanks, Chuck. Gary Caw here. I believe that before global government will come on the scene, as prophesied in Revelation 13 and 14, that there will probably be one major world crisis. I'm talking about military crisis to make it possible. And I believe there will be a tremendous amount of loss of life, and it will really shake the world up to the point where they will then finally, the people of the world will accept some type of international peace plan in the name of preventing war and people from destroying each other. And so from that standpoint, I could see how this passage could possibly describe that scenario. But when I studied it years ago, I wrote in my Bible here that this is Armageddon. So I don't know either. I think it really is one of those passages, it's kind of a wait and see. We need to be familiar with it, and there's going to be a major war in the Middle East, possibly two. Something else I want to throw in, this is not from Scripture, but it's interesting. Albert Pike, who was the leader of Freemasonry, Scottish Rite Freemasonry from 1859 to 1891, talked about a final distant war that would be required to usher in the New World Order. And he made some very interesting statements, and some of you are familiar with those. I'm not going to go into all of them. But it talked about a major world crisis that would absolutely shake people to their core, after which they would then finally embrace the New World Order. And this passage could be describing that, perhaps.
Okay, so I want to get clear on this. So, Ron, is Psalm 83 before Armageddon in your understanding? Okay, yes, David? that part of Armageddon, or is that before Armageddon?
Real quick, I don't know. You see, when I got out of school, I knew all of these things. Yeah. So I've gotten older, now I'm not sure. I don't know. What will be, I can guarantee you that. I really don't know. Bill Salas has a nice book, Israelstein, which he examines Psalm 83. But I don't know, really don't.
Bill, before. Before. So before. Chuck? Before. Yeah, Gary. Okay. So the point is, here are guys y'all love, and there's not unanimity among them. The point is, you get into the text. Don't read just verses that you happen to agree with, and only guys that you disagree with. It's very important to read people you disagree with. It can strengthen your resolve that you have the right view, but it will also give you insight into other Christians who say they love Jesus and love the scriptures too. And they're not in our camp. And once you're aware of their arguments and how it follows and how they build their case, you have some sensitivity. I really appreciate David's view on this. And I think if we had him in a class in an extended period, it would be, okay, look, here are all the views, and here are the positions to take. At the end of the day, we're still not sure. But pay attention and watch very closely. And I would echo that advice.